Happy Groundhog Day, everyone. It's February 2nd. I heard that Phil saw his shadow and is predicting 6 more weeks of winter. But we live in Utah. It could be 6 months. Well, 3 months, or who knows. But anyway, happy Groundhog Day. Happy February. Happy month of love, Valentine's month. And yes, reminding you that this is our year of defying gravity. And that this month we are talking about the interconnectedness of all things. And I love the music you've picked out for this month. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before I jump into our topic, I wanted to remind us that this is Black History Month. And it's something that we've observed for many, many years. It's also known as African American History Month. And I think it's more important now than ever to make sure that we observe these things, even if the government's trying to write it off. No. That's not what we're doing here in the center. We include and we celebrate diversity, inclusivity. So what I want to do this month is I want to bring to a point a couple of people in Black history that have made profound differences in our world. The first one I want to tell you about, her name is Annie Easley. She's not someone that you've probably heard of, and that's why I'm talking about her. She is known as the human computer. For work, she did analyzing problems and making calculations by hand at the Aircraft Engine Research Laboratory in Cleveland, Ohio. She was born in 1933 in Alabama and was confronted with racial segregation in the Jim Crow South during her early education. Throughout her life, she had to deal with these things, and she joined the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NASA. She was only one of 4 Black employees out of 2,500 employees. Just imagine that. The lab known now as NASA was in need of people with strong math skills. So she was in need of a job after recently relocating from Birmingham, later as a computer programmer. Easley worked development on the Centaur rocket, which helped lay the groundwork for future launches of satellites, space probes, and future space shuttles. She's a remarkable person, a remarkable human being that we all need to know about. The other one that I wanted to talk about is someone, it is a household name that we've all heard about, and that's Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is and will always be a beacon of wisdom, of resilience and inspiration. I go to her poems often when I need a little extra inspiration. She is also, besides known through her poetry and her memoirs, but she is known as an activist, a voice to the struggles and triumphs, empowering generations to rise above adversity. Another remarkable, remarkable person. From her groundbreaking I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings to her unforgettable poem, Phenomenal Woman, and look these up online. You won't be sad that you did. They're amazing poems, amazing works of art. She has always celebrated the beauty, strength, and dignity of the human spirit. She'll always be a way shower for me in my spiritual journey, and I hope she will be for you if you haven't really looked her up. In fact, I remember this. I was about to see her in person for the first time in San Francisco, and I was so excited. And we got there and we found out that she was ill. She died not too long after that. But there's lots of video. You'll see her on Oprah a bunch of times. Go online and look her up. An amazing human being. So back to my topic today. Energy is, was, and will always be. And I have an idea. If you can stand up for a moment. If you don't want to stand, that's okay. And I want you to just put your arms up to the heavens and take in a deep breath of energy right through the top of your head. Breathe in deep and let that energy go all the way down to the ground. Now breathe in from the ground and let that energy go up through the chalice of your arms into the heavens. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in from above and let it go all the way down to the ground. Breathe in from below and let it go through that chalice that we've created in our arms up to the heavens. Yes. Thank you for playing with me. That's energy, folks. And you know what? It's unlimited. If you wake up and you're feeling that seasonal effect because it's gray and ugly out there, you can get up and do this. If you can't stand, you can do this in your bed. You can do it sitting down. Because this energy is not just contained here, it's everywhere. And if we're not feeling it here, get some. It's free. No one's charging you for it, right? So I wanted to read a little bit from that book of the month from Greg Braden. There are beautiful and wild forces with us. Maybe you want to close your eyes and just focus on these words. There are beautiful and wild forces with us. With these words, St. Francis of Assisi described the mystery and power that lives within every man, woman, and child born into this world. The Sufi poet Rumi further described the magnitude of that power by comparing it to the great oar that propels us through life. If we put our soul against this oar with me, he begins, the power that made the universe will enter you, sinew from the source, not outside your limbs, but from with a holy realm that lives within us. Through the language of poetry, both Rumi and St. Francis express something beyond the obvious experience of our everyday world. The words of their times, they remind us that ancients called the greatest force in the universe the power that unites us with the cosmos. Today, we know that power as prayer. Elaborating on prayer, St. Francis simply states, the result of prayer is life. Prayer brings us life, he says, because it irrigates the earth and the heart. Just take that in. Even the sciences say the same thing with different words. This is from the American Psychological Association. People who believe in oneness, the idea that everything in the world is connected and interdependent, appear to have greater satisfaction than those who don't, whether they belong to a religion or don't, according to this research that was published. I love how science and spirituality have come together to prove each other. It's always been this way. We're just finding out new things and new ways to prove what we already know. Energy, love, oneness. It's what we are. It's who we are. It's how we show up in this world. So we are beings of energy, and we are compressed into these body temples. But it doesn't mean that when you walk in a room, your energy is contained here. When you walk in your room, your energy comes with you. That's why sometimes some people walk in the room and you just say, who is that? And I want to know them. They've got great energy. The opposite can happen too. Sometimes people can walk in the room and you feel the energy get sucked right out. And you're like, oh, I think I need to go over here. So these energy beings that we are unique patterns of the divine. No two of us can be the same. But we're all made of the same stuff. When we are influenced by our experiences on our journey, sometimes we forget this. We have decided that something outside of us can make us have a good day or a bad day, or a good life or a bad life, or an abundant life or a less than abundant life. That's why prayer is so important. So, Linda talked about this in her opening. When there's a contradiction from your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So let's say you've been affirming abundance, and yet your subconscious mind is saying, yeah, no, that's not going to be your life. So-and-so in your life is the one that's lucky. Your brother, your family, someone you know is the one that always gets these grand vacations. Not me. So you keep affirming abundance, and yet there's this back talk that is contradicting. And when we contradict ourselves, the manifestation cannot happen. That's why prayer can be so powerful for us. I say this because we do believe in oneness and interconnectedness in this philosophy. And here's where I get a little political. Because how others feel, how we feel matters. If someone on the other side of the United States is feeling not inspired or worried that they might get rounded up by ICE, it affects us too. If we have good in our life, that good energy affects the world. If we buy into all these things going on and don't remember to practice joy, then we won't have more joy in the world. So I'm not saying this to be a downer, because there's a lot of stuff going on, especially this week. I don't need to re-say it. For those of you that tune into the news, you know what's going on. But I want to say this, that now is our time. I am so grateful that we started our LGBTQ allies group. Now is the time. And it's not just if you're LGBTQIA, it's for all of those of you, and I see the faces out there, that have family, that have friends, that know that we are all the same energy. It doesn't matter how that energy outpictures in the world. But we get to come together in a group like that once a month to support each other, talk about our fears, our concerns, and buoy each other up with joyful connection and interconnectedness. Now, more than ever, it's so important. And I've talked to a few of you in this room about sacred activism. That's something that has been percolating in my heart since the election. It's coming. I'm not saying that we're going to go out there and march for something that we hate or don't like or don't want. No, we're going to go out there and march for peace, march for love, march for justice, march for equity. That's what I'm talking about. That is so important. So The existence of energy, as Greg Braden talks about it in our physical world, is this divine matrix that is in and through all life. In fact, on the Gaia Network, you can see Greg Braden's program called The Divine Matrix. I recommend it highly. So everything in this world is connected to everything else. And because of that, we need to make sure that we are staying in an energy field of possibility, of love, of life. Because it's real easy to get swallowed into the negativity if you watch the news. I'm not saying that we ignore those things, and I am saying that we speak up, but I am telling you, if we just focus on what's not good and we don't focus on the truth, that love is much stronger and more powerful than hate, then we are going to have a rough go of it the next 4 years. I love how Spirit works for me, because when I'm sitting there, I'm actually sitting there saying, use me. It's not about what I wrote here, what I thought about during the week. It's about Spirit using me, and I don't consider myself a political person. But I know how important it is right now to speak up. So, let's just take a deep breath. And I have this quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. The atoms of our bodies are traceable to stars that manufactured them in their cores and exploded these enriched ingredients across our galaxy billions of years ago. For this reason, we are all biologically connected to every other living thing in this world. We are chemically connected to all the molecules on Earth, and we are atomically connected to all the atoms in the universe. We are not figuratively, but literally stardust. That's what we are, folks. We must remember this as we move forward. This is why we must not just pray for ourselves, but pray for the world. See, our life is a prayer. Just our prayers are life. We know this from our founder, that we do not beg God or some deity to give us the goodies. We know that through our conscious mind that we affirm all the goodness, all the love, all the greatness that is available to us. We must stay aligned with that. And speaking of alignment, that's what I'm talking about next week. Aligning with our good, aligning with our God, aligning with our abundance. One more quote for you. This is from Intimate Conversations with the Divine by Carolyn Myss. The great spiritual masters emphasize the mystical truth that all is one. The truth cannot be grasped intellectually. We cannot comprehend the mystical truth of being interconnected with all sentient beings. We can only make the choice to live as if it were the truth and observe whether somehow that choice gradually influences the quality of our life for the better. That's what I know has happened in my life. I believe truly that we are all interconnected. I believe the world's sorrows are our sorrows. I believe that my good is your good. I believe our actions speak louder than our words. I believe that now is the time to take action, speak up as the energy beings that we are. By the way, did you know why the universe didn't allow pets to speak? To teach us that love and loyalty come through actions and not words. Let's pray. So just taking in a deep breath. I am so grateful. Grateful for our boy band, Rick Charette and the Butches. Grateful for this beautiful community. Grateful for Raj and his team that make sure we sound good and look good. Grateful for every volunteer that comes through these doors that calls this place a spiritual family, home, their tribe. Grateful for the winter as we wait for the spring, knowing that it's coming. Grateful for knowing that there is only one. This one has many names, whether you call it God, Spirit, Allah, Jehovah, Hashem, the Way, the Force, the Divine Matrix, Energy, Light, Love, Heart. So many names, and yet only one. And it's through every musical note. It's in every tree and every flurry of snow, every branch and root, every animal and every sentient being. It's simply everywhere, every moment of every day. It's always present and never absent. It's always with us. And I know, because that is the truth with the capital T, that I am one and the same as the one. I am the I am. And because my life is interconnected with this oneness, with this power, with this presence, I know the same is true for every beautiful soul within earshot of this prayer. That even if you're in a moment of grief or lack or feeling a little bit separated or lonely, that you are always, always interconnected with power, presence, love, God, whatever you call it. Because we are united in this way, we use these times in community and use this time of music and these messages and these words to come home to ourselves, to remember who and what we are. We are energy, we are light, we are love, we are one, we are loved. So because that is true, I claim and know for all of us in this room that are going through challenges, changes, whether it's in our body temple, whether it's in our finances, whether it's in our family life, whether it's in our work life. I claim and know that everything that is happening as one door closes, another opens. That everything that we could possibly need, all resources are right there at our disposal, at our fingertips. We just get to throw our arms up in the air and accept that energy that is available to us. It's unlimited. Every day in every way. I also know this as the families grieve that lost all those lives on the airplane and the helicopter that crashed. That we don't have to point fingers at whose fault it was. It's a tragic moment for these beautiful, young, inspired ice skaters that only got to live 12 to 16 years of their life doing what they loved. I know those families, as they are grieving, get to the other side, to have an understanding that goes beyond anything a human can think, that they find the peace, they find the love when it's time for them. In the meantime, we grieve as they grieve. We hold them dearly. And we also hold our loved ones dearly in our hearts. If you're in prayer for yourself or someone you know, go ahead and just take a moment to say your name silently and the names of others that you want prayer for. I'll give you a little time and space for this to happen. Yes, just keep adding those names to this prayer field, to this interconnected prayer field. The universe hears it. The answer is always yes. And for this, I am thankful for answered prayer. That we just open our eyes on the inside and see that it's happening now. We feel that it's happening now. We feel what answered prayer feels like now. As we feel it, we release this time of prayer into the law, knowing that it only works 100% of the time. 24/7, 365. It is released. It is done. It's done now. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.